So remember, fingers first, then close. The kettlebell is never really in my palm. So if I cross over and I'm working in the corner, I have space to place my hand. I have a straight wrist, the handle is going on a 45-degree angle. But I'm avoiding that collapsing of my wrist, I have no wrist pain. So work up in the corner, you clean, and your fingers are safe. Hey guys, my name is Pete, here at Tiger Muay Thai. And in today's video, I want to teach you how to grip the kettlebell properly. I think this is a very important thing to learn, because I realized over the years of teaching kettlebell that a lot of people I introduced to kettlebell training do not find fun, do not enjoy kettlebell training because they get too many blisters. So maybe it's the most important thing to teach at the beginning. Before we get into it, two things you can do to avoid blisters. Number one, that's what we're going to do in a second, learn how to grip the kettlebell. And the number two rule is, if you realize within the next 10, 20 swings, for example, you're going to lose a big piece of your callus, just stop training. Okay, if you have a big blister, if you lose it, you might not train for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Okay, let's go to the grip. Most of you guys know how to grip a barbell or a dumbbell. There's a big difference between the barbell and the kettlebell. If I get hold on a barbell, I go most of the time palm first, and then I bring my fingers around. Let me show this from the front. I go palm first and get my fingers around, maybe even doing a hook grip or have a normal grip. It's a very good grip for dumbbell exercises and barbell exercises. Now if we go over here to the kettlebell, things look a little different. In kettlebell training, there's a lot of movement. That means you have a lot of friction in your hand. If you go palm first and then bring your fingers around, there will be a lot of movement in the middle of your palm, and that's exactly where you get the blisters. And if you get tired, the kettlebell slides up and you lose your callus on top of the palm. So what you have to do is the exact opposite. You go fingers first, you kind of flatten out the callus here, and then you bring your palm around. Okay? Fingers first, palm around. If we're swinging, I just want to show you that from the top. The kettlebell is never really in my palm. So if I have any motion, any friction there, it stays on my callus in the fingers, not on my palm. Okay? So remember, fingers first, then close. Okay, so much at this point. Next one is where to grab the kettlebell. Okay, there are a few different ways. I'm just going to teach you my way, and I'll also tell you why I'm doing it this way. So beside finger placement first, I always choose the corner which is close to my thumb. So this one here is close to my thumb. This one would be close to my pinky. That's not where we go in. We go in close to the thumb corner. Why is that so important? It has different reasons. Number one, if I'm doing a single kettlebell swing, and there's one way of switching the kettlebell, which would be crossing over and switching. So if I cross over and I'm working in the corner, I have space to place my hand. And that means when I'm switching, I always have control. There's always at least one hand on the kettlebell. If I'm working in the middle, it's not wrong. But to switch hands, I have to release. Okay, that's just a little bit more advanced, and you lose for a moment control over the kettlebell. So I like to stay in the corner to be able to switch if I'm doing the crossover switch. Second thing, I said before, there's a lot of movement in kettlebell training. We need to allow the kettlebell to move. And the second part why it is so important to have the grip up here in the corner is my kettlebell front rack position. Okay, let me show you quickly how a front rack position looks like so you know what I'm talking about. That's a front rack position. That is a position where I should be able to let the kettlebell rest, and from here I can squat, I can press overhead, I can do a lot of things. To come into a strong front rack position where I can rest the kettlebell and from where I can press, I need to allow the kettlebell to move. And if you look a little bit closer, this is the position I want to achieve. So the handle comes almost in a 45-degree angle over my palm, here. So why is that so important? If I'm up here, and as you can see, I have a straight wrist, the handle is going in a 45-degree angle. The nature of the kettlebell is to pull me to the outside. If I'm holding the kettlebell in the middle, it's very likely that my wrist starts bending because of the weight pulling me outside. That is very fatiguing because I have to fight against this, number one. If I'm fatiguing and my wrist is bent, I am limited in my pressing capability as the force I'm producing is going past the kettlebell. So I'm not going to be able to press that heavy. But now have a look here. If I have this 45-degree angle, my wrist is straight, I'm almost not able to bend it. From here, my forearm is right under the kettlebell handle and I can press really easy overhead. That's a strong position. I can rest here. The kettlebell, yes, is pulling me to the outside, but I'm avoiding that collapsing of my wrist. I have no wrist pain. Yeah? Resting position, strong pressing position. The second thing, which I think is very, very important, if you work with double kettlebells. If I'm grabbing on the top corner and I'm doing a clean, when the kettlebell handles hit, my fingers are safe. And trust me, that happened many times to me before when I got lazy and I lost the grip and I moved a little bit inside and I cleaned, boom, my fingers hit each other or the handle hits my finger. That's very painful, especially if you use heavy kettlebells. So work up in the corner, you clean, and your fingers are safe. Guys, same for the snatch. If I'm going in the overhead position with the snatch, I want to be able to rest here. Have a look, my wrist stays straight. That's a strong overhead position. If, again, I'm using the middle grip, it can be that my wrist collapses on top. I have to work much more to keep it straight. I'm limited in weight and I might get pain. That's why I'm using this corner. I can cross over, I can achieve a strong front rack position with a straight wrist, elbow on my rib cage, hand on my chest. The kettlebell is under control, it's not pulling me to the outside. I can press very strong with a straight wrist in that position. Last but not least, to have a good grip and to save yourself from big blisters is use a towel and use a chalk. Especially out here in Thailand, we're sweating a lot, it's super hot. Keep your kettlebell dry, dry your hands before you put chalk on. Come in, what I like to do, taking the top of my palm, my thumb here, and I take one across. That's how I chalk. Very important, more chalk is not better. I said it before, you want the kettlebell to move in your palm. The more chalk you have, the harder it's going to be, the more friction you have, the more likely it is to get again a blister. The second thing is, what you really don't want to have is chalk in your hand and sweat running down your arm into your palm. It becomes very slippery, a lot of friction, again blisters. The number one thing I recommend is a hand wrist to stop the sweat from going down. And then you're really prepared for good swings where you can switch the hand. I know there are other techniques to do it, but that's one of them. You can clean, you can rest here, we can squat, no wrist pain, no blisters or little blisters. You have a strong pressing position and you also have a very strong and relaxing overhead position as your wrist is not collapsing from the kettlebell force pulling you back. Guys, that is how I grip the kettlebell. I find it very beneficial to work in that corner. Remember, go fingers first, then palm. It's different to the barbell. and that should make your kettlebell training more enjoyable, less blisters. Guys, stay strong. Guys, if you liked that video, I'm definitely gonna put up more stuff about kettlebell or training in general up on the Tiger YouTube channel. So subscribe, send some comments, write some comments if you want to learn something different, or if you have any ideas, any questions. We try to answer them, and I hope I see you soon.